everyone. In this episode, I'm really excited to talk about two things I love. One is technology, and the other is economics. Some people may not know that about me. Uh, I get a lot of calls from clients, potential clients, asking me which software to choose or which platform to choose. And they get lost in the features. I think that you start reading what one application can do compared to another one, and you think, oh, that's got a really cool feature. I probably need that feature. But in reality, we don't need all the bells and whistles. Most of the time we pay for things that we don't actually need or use. Another part of what I want to talk about today is those is hidden costs when you're choosing software. There's little sneaky things that catch you out, and they don't allow your business to scale with that choice. So I'm going to dive into that today. So I hope you're as excited as I am. Let's get into it. So to start off with, I'm going to compare booking software actually. I thought about a few different things. Obviously, we could compare Shopify and WordPress, but one of the common ones I get asked for is booking software. So there's a lot of service-based businesses out there that are, they want to be efficient. They want self-booking. They want integration with their calendar. They want something that doesn't cost them an arm and a leg. Now, in this talk, I'm going to really push the benefits of WordPress because that's what I do. So get ready for that. But I'm gonna talk about three different booking applications. I'm going to compare them using a tool that I use when I make decisions with software, and I'll make that tool available for you to use as well. And I really want to there's a real hidden cost in software. Most software companies are either US based or they're registered as an LLC in the US, which means you end up paying in US dollars. And if you follow economics or any of that sort of stuff, you would know that the Australian dollar is slightly weaker at the moment, buying 64 cents to $1. So that does come into play when you're paying for software in US dollars. So it might be something that you've used for a few years, and just recently you start to notice that, oh, hang on a minute, it's costing me more all of a sudden. And that is because of the currency conversion. Whereas, I think back, sort of during COVID, we were sort of trading around 70 cents to the US dollar. And that's now sort of fallen down. And that's a burden for people because things are expensive at the moment. So if I can show you a way to kind of get around those hidden costs and hidden fees, I'd love to. And that's what we're going to do today. So I am going to share my screen and we're going to look at this tool. So let's share and get into it. All right. So as I said, we're going to compare three different applications. So one of those is Acuity. A few of you out there might be using Acuity. Another one is called Booknetic. It's a plugin for WordPress. And the third one we'll look at is called Amelia, which is also a plugin for WordPress. So in this tool that I've made, this comparison tool, basically what I would say to anyone that is looking to implement some sort of technology-based solution, first thing you do, write down exactly what you want to achieve. Don't worry about the features. Worry about what you need to accomplish. So this is a really great example. If you use Microsoft Office, okay, and you want to have calendar sync, that means you need a solution that can sync with Microsoft Office. It doesn't matter if it can sync with Google Calendar because that is not important to you. So you need to write down all the things that are important to you to achieve what you want to achieve. That's the most important thing when you're choosing the software. You are choosing it to make your life easier in some way. So make sure it makes your life easier in some way. That's important. So write those things down. Another important thing that we all think about, I think, on some level, some more than others, is cost. Cost is a huge one for me because I didn't grow up with a lot of money or anything like that. So you really needed to make sure that your money went far. And that's something that I'm going to show with this tool, just how far we can make our money go. And I hope that's important to you as well, because that's a big focus for this channel and what I'm trying to do. So I've put in some other features as well. Obviously, all of them are going to integrate with WordPress, particularly the WordPress plugins. They won't all integrate with Shopify because 2 are WordPress plugins. API, you probably don't care about because you're not a developer, so it's not a feature you would really put much thought into. Calendar sync, they were 2 big ones that I've come across. Pretty much everything integrates with Google Calendar. That's awesome for Google. Not everything does synchronize with Microsoft, and that is because Microsoft products have been seen as more of a corporate tool, I guess. So you won't find a lot of small business owners using Microsoft, Office 365. If you do, that's awesome. I have chosen one plugin that does sync with Microsoft Calendar. SMS notifications. This might be really important to some people. All the plugins, all the applications will do it, but obviously, if you're using these WordPress options, they need an add-on, which does cost money. Obviously, they all take online payments. I feel like that. I really feel a little bit silly for putting it in there because if it doesn't, why would you use it? Multiple locations, probably not important for everyone. They sort of all do it, but again, you have to pay a little more. You've got to add another feature or an add-on or something like that. Reviews, this is important to look at. And I think it's important to look at mainly just to get a feel. And I wouldn't put all my weight on the reviews because everyone's different. And how do we know that the reviews are legitimate? They could be created by bots or AI or anything like that. So don't put all your weight on them, but you genuinely want to see, say out of a 5-star rating, you want to see something over a 4-star, and you want mostly positive. If you're just seeing a whole heap of negative saying, "Oh, I tried it, it worked for a little while, and then it didn't work anymore," well, that if you're getting a lot of people saying that, it's pretty damning. What I found with these 3, though, they were all fairly good. Mostly positive. I think Booknetic probably had the least positive, but it's because it's probably the least known as well. It's the newest one. So yeah, a lot of this stuff probably not as important as price. For me, I look at price. If it's not in my budget to begin with, I don't care what features it has. Unless, of course, it's something very specific that I need, and there might be like 1 or 2 really niche products that do that, then I would take that into consideration. So now I've opened up the pricing pages for all of these applications. So let's have a look at the Acuity one. This is super popular with a lot of people, and I get it. It's a good tool. So they have this sort of pay monthly. If you pay monthly for it, you lose that 20% discount. So you're looking at $20 a month, but you'll also see here all prices are in USD. So let's say we pay for it annually and we've got this $16. So we're saving 20%. Let's plug that into this. So if I were to spend, what did it say, $16 a month? No, I put that the wrong way. 16 US. is 24.97 Australian dollars because of the conversion rate. So you're not actually paying 16, you're paying this converted rate. That's the little hidden fee bit that you don't want to get caught in. Yes, so I've basically just froze up for a second there. I've taken all the prices, because all of these are sold in USD. Pretty much any software that you're going to buy, they all do it in USD. So basically, you've just got to take whatever the price is on the website, punch it into one of these converters to work out what your actual price is. And that's the trick. A lot of people look at the price and go, beautiful, I'll start my trial, I'll get everything set up. And once you've already gotten set up, it's very unlikely that you are going to go, stuff that, I'm going to go start again somewhere else. Most people, once they've gone through that process of setting something up, they're in. And that's the trick with the 7-day trial. I'll get you into it. I want you to set everything up and make it work exactly how you want. And then we're going to start charging you, and you're going to be locked in, because you're not going to want to move away from that. And that's the trick. And then obviously when you scale, you already feel like you're locked into something. And then obviously, look, it just grows. Like, say you want to add another location. Well, I'm not allowed to use this anymore. I've got to then jack it up to this, which is about $42 a month. So obviously it just goes up and up. So I've gone and grabbed the prices for all these. I've put them into this tool, and I've put the converted prices in, as you can see. I used the $16, so the lowest price one here. These two options, they only have one price. So annual or lifetime. Lifetime means you only pay for it once, which is really cool. So if I were to buy this Amelia plugin, okay, I pay this fee once, and that's actually in Australian dollars, as you can see, plus the 28 GST. That is a good price, because once I go and add up how much Acuity costs me every year, it's actually costing me $300 a year at that lowest price. Now, so here we get to this really fun little thing. So initial cost for Acuity is zero. So there's no barrier to entry. You start a trial, you set up your thing, you're locked in, okay? You pay your $300 a year. Now, as a percentage of sales, you might say, $300 is fine. I have no worries with that at all. And that's cool. But what you're not realizing is every transaction you process through Stripe, which is what I've put here, because they can all use Stripe. They use PayPal as well, but I'm going to keep the comparison to Stripe. Every transaction with Stripe is 1.75% of the transaction cost plus 30 cents. So for Acuity, for example, I've just created this little box over here, and I'm just going to change so you can read it. All right, so on a $99 transaction, you're paying $2 per transaction. So you lose $2 out of that sale. Now, if you're doing that 10 times a week, that's $20. If you're doing that 40 times a month, that's $81. If you're doing that every month for the year, 480 times, that's $1,000 that you're losing to your booking system, plus the $300 that you're paying to use the software. So that is what I would call a hidden cost. Now, when you come back and look at the comparison tool, you go, oh, but these all have that cost as well. So how are these any better? Well, because they use WordPress, WooCommerce to be exact, you can add a piece of code, a function that will perform this calculation on the transaction before checkout, which means that you pass the transaction cost onto the consumer. So your customers are paying for that $2. So you are not out of pocket if you use one of these. And it is legal to pass on the transaction cost. So that's where the benefit of using WordPress comes in, especially if you go and buy something like this one that costs you, $300 once, plus you might go and pay a developer, $350 to set it up once, $500, no transaction costs, and you're done. So basically, it works out to $6.12 on this annual cost per month. Now, once you've paid everything off, if you bought the license, lifetime license, once you've paid it off, those costs are not a factor anymore. So that's where these two options for mine are better. You might be out of pocket more up front, yes, granted. That might be a barrier. But the idea is this would scale far better than this, because I'm only doing, per transaction on a night, you could be doing $200 per session or whatever you're doing. That's far more. So yeah, so the transaction costs, the conversion to USD, all of that factors in. And I don't want to harp on about this too much, but I think a lot of people are getting caught out by this by not realizing that the WordPress can be a system that you want. You can change it, you can modify it, you can customize it. Not you specifically, you'd pay someone like me or another developer, but if you can think of it, you can do it. And that's the beauty of WordPress. I mean, just that example alone, that's $1,000 a year you'd be saving by using one of these. So I don't know if I could really touch more on that, but yeah, I really feel there's definitely more of a configuration hurdle, particularly if you're not a developer, because chances are you'll have to pay someone to set up, for a Zoom integration or something like that. You'll need help setting that up. Yeah, but I just see that cost and I see how much you're paying all these transaction fees and whatnot. And I just, yeah, I look at big business, what big business are doing now. If you hear any of these massive software companies like Meta, Stripe, all of these companies are laying off staff. Employee cost of employees for a business can be anywhere from 30 to 50%. So when you see big businesses laying off a lot of employees, that is them trying to be economical. That is those businesses trying to weather this kind of period where, credit's not as easy to access, interest rates are up, consumer spending is down. So they're trying to weather this storm, if you like. And when you're a small business and it's maybe just you can't fire people to save money. You have to look at these little things, 1.75% plus 30 cents transaction, it sounds so small, but things like that add up for a small business. Like I just showed you, that could potentially be $1,000 a year. So let's look at things economically. Let's look for the longer term and, let's be creative. Let's find ways to make our dollar go further, especially when the purchasing power is getting weaker. So I really do hope that's helped someone. If you're using Acuity or some other software and you're not sure, you're looking for an alternative, I'll give you a copy of this software comparison. You can swap these out, do your own comparison. Get in touch with me. I'd be happy to run some numbers like this for you. I enjoy it. I think it's great. Yeah, so hopefully that's helped someone out there. And that'll be it for today. Have a good week.